morning, yes, there's only one place to start, and that is with Kylian Mbappe's controversial move from Monaco to PSG. It's controversial because UEFA rules are supposed to stop clubs from spending more than they earn. PSG on course to spend more than £300 million this summer. They've now agreed a deal to sign Mbappe, and they believe they have come up with a way to comply with those UEFA rules. They'll take Mbappe now on loan, and they'll buy him next summer for £166 million. Interesting to see what UEFA think of that. Virtually every big club in Europe wanted Mbappe, but he chose PSG. He's believed to be getting a pay rise of more than 2,000%. His weekly wage is going up from about £16,000 a week to £300,000 a week. Not bad when you are just 18. Now, staying at Monaco, and the summer sale might not be over yet. They've sold Mbappe, they've sold Mendy, they've sold Bakayoko, they've sold Silva. PSG want Fabinho, and our information is that Liverpool have made a £55 million bid for Thomas Lemar. Arsenal have also been trying to sign the French midfielder, but last week Arsene Wenger said that Monaco had decided not to sell Lemar. Well, we're being told Monaco have not decided yet whether to accept or reject Liverpool's bid. They're trying to see if they can find an adequate replacement before selling him. Lemar played the full 90 minutes as Monaco beat Marseille 6-1 last night.
So Thomas Lemar, that's been the breaking news in the last 10 minutes or so. Sky sources telling us of this bid. He can play on either wing, he can play in the middle of midfield. Good signing for Liverpool?
Yeah, I think so. I think any time you bring any quality to your football club, it gives the club a lift. I don't know whether it sends a message out that money's become available, because they might be easing off with Coutinho going out the door. So every time a football club in Liverpool's situation goes out and spends that sort of money, you think to yourself, well, are they spending that to line players up to move Coutinho out and balance the books?
Well, I tell you what, Carve is here. He can bring us the latest on Philippe Coutinho.
I wish he would.
Yes, staying at Liverpool, and we are told this morning that Philippe Coutinho is still desperate to go to Barcelona. That is the phrase that was used to us, desperate. Jurgen Klopp was asked about Coutinho yesterday, and he said that Liverpool's owners had made it clear that Coutinho would not be sold. Liverpool have had no problems without Coutinho on the pitch so far this season, and a final decision needs to be made in the next 72 hours. Keep an unhappy player or accept a massive offer from Barcelona. We'll find out today if Coutinho has gone to Brazil for their games against Ecuador and Colombia. Difficult to see how he could sign for Barcelona if he's going to Brazil, with the window closing in just 72 hours' time. Staying at Liverpool, and some exciting news for Liverpool supporters reaching us from our colleagues at Sky in Italy. They're reporting that Liverpool are the favourites to sign Renato Sanchez on loan from Bayern Munich. The Portugal midfielder wants more game time, and he's frustrated in Germany after moving to Bayern for £27 million in May last year. Chelsea, Monaco are some of the other clubs who are interested. Now, Sanchez's agent, George Mendes, was at the Monaco game last night, but he's also involved in the Mbappe deal. Sanchez, meanwhile, didn't play for Bayern on Saturday. They say he'd asked for time off to think about some offers. Now, staying at Liverpool, more news from there about Simon Mignolet. We're told that Italian club Napoli were interested in signing him, but they have been told there is no chance of the goalkeeper leaving Anfield. Mignolet was not in the Liverpool squad for yesterday's win against Arsenal, but Jurgen Klopp says he still is #1 keeper, and he'll definitely start their next game away at Manchester City.
For the season that we created a situation, 3 really strong goalkeepers. That's our situation now. That means you cannot deal with it like you would do when it's a clear #3, a clear #2. Yes, Simon is a clear #1, but the others are not clear #2s. Hug and said, thank you, boss, that's exactly what I thought what we should do. But anyway, I wanted to do it, and I want to give him this rest.
I can just imagine Stuart Pearce going, thank you, boss. That's exactly what I would have done. Keeper position at Liverpool, is that still, he says Simon Mignolet is his number one. Is that still a problem for you, though, that position?
For me, yes, at Liverpool. solely just comparing it to the likes of Manchester United with De Gea or Lloris at Tottenham, I just see them as better goalkeepers, you know, and goalkeepers that are befitting for teams that might win the Premier League.
What do they need then? Which type of keeper do they need? Where is Mignolet lacking?
I think dominating the box, you know, is one thing. I think his shot stopping's okay. In the last game I saw him play, he dropped the odd cross and whatever, and he doesn't dominate the box, and that would be the big concern for me.
Yes, it's going to be a busy few days at Arsenal. Lots of Arsenal fans want changes on and off the pitch, but there could be more departures than arrivals. Now, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain played at Anfield yesterday, but he still wants to leave. He has just a year left on his contract, and Chelsea and Liverpool both want to sign him this week. We're told it would take a bid of at least £35 million for Arsenal to even think about letting him go. Other players who could be leaving Arsenal: Shkodran Mustafi. He was an unused sub yesterday, and Inter Milan believe they are very close to signing him on loan. Arsenal signed the German defender for £35 million from Valencia last summer. Inter also interested in Manchester City defender Eliakim Mangala, but we're told Mustafi is their #1 choice. Arsene Wenger was asked about potential departures yesterday, and he wasn't giving much away.
Will Oxlade-Chamberlain be allowed to leave this week?
That's a kind of question I can answer after a game like that. I think we are focused on the game. What will happen on the transfer market in the next 3-4 days, I don't know.
And the staffing?
Similar question, similar answer.
Now, there are lots of Arsenal players with just a year left on their contracts, including, of course, Alexis Sanchez. He was on PSG's shortlist, but they've landed massive deals for Neymar and Mbappe. So that leaves Manchester City. Now, they're big admirers of Sanchez. He played for the first time this season at Anfield yesterday. Now, another deal that has been on and off for the past few days, a player who has been linked heavily in the past with Arsenal. Of course, it's William Carvalho. Now, West Ham have been trying to sign the imposing defensive midfielder from Sporting Lisbon, but this deal has become more and more complicated. So complicated that on Friday, West Ham decided to walk away because the deal had become just too expensive. West Ham were willing to go up to £33 million, Sporting wanting closer to £40 million. Now, 3 days left for either Sporting to lower their asking price or for West Ham to pay up.
OK, we'll keep an eye on that one. Let's go back to Arsenal. And last out, we touched on the outs, didn't we? What do Arsenal need to bring in, I guess, is the question that Arsenal fans want answered.
Well, certainly, if we're talking about the players that are going out, if even a fraction of those leave the football club, it could be 3 or 4 players, you're going to have to buff the squad up, you're going to have to get the heart of defence sorted out. I think defensively they need to be more solid. I think maybe the heart of midfield has to be more solid as well. And the vital thing is keeping Sanchez, you know, otherwise you'll need another striker.
Well, here we are, 3 days, 11 hours and 15 minutes away from the window. Last season, we saw across the North London divide, Daniel Levy signing all his players up onto longer contracts. I'm trying to pick the right word here. Why didn't Arsenal do the same? Why have they got to this position where they've got all these players coming to the final year of their contract?
Because, in my opinion, the results of the football club have not been solid enough for players to commit their future to Arsenal Football Club. That's probably the reasoning behind that. If the club were doing fantastically well and on the up, like you'd probably say Tottenham are as strong as now as they have been. They've got a squad of players as strong as going back many, many years. I can't remember a Tottenham squad as strong as it is now, in my opinion. So the players think, I'll buy into that, I'll re-sign a contract. The other side of that is that Arsenal, which have historically been a very strong side, can win the league. They've won the league over the last 2 decades or so. Players have looked at it and think, what direction are the club going at? Too many question marks for players to commit their future to the club.
Now, to the future of West Brom defender Johnny Evans. Manchester City want him, so do Leicester City. Leicester have made a £21 million bid for Evans, but that has been rejected out of hand. West Brom value him at about £30 million. City expected to make another bid for him before Thursday's deadline. Now, West Brom lining up a replacement. Sky sources say West Brom are interested in signing Fenerbahce defender Joseph de Souza. Now, he would cost around £10 million. But this is what Tony Pulis had to say about Evans yesterday.
Johnny Evans, do you expect him to be part of it once the shake-up's finished?
Have you read his programme notes?
I have read his programme notes.
So hopefully he'll be with us.
Expecting a busy few days?
Yeah, Chairman's just come in and yeah, we're hoping that we can bring the players that we need to improve the group. And the group, as you've seen today, you know, without Evans, you know, with Chadley, without the big fella at the back, McCauley as well, we've got important players missing. So these lads have done absolutely fantastic.
It's one of those things about this time of year, isn't it? How has Johnny Evans, quietly going about his business at West Brom, suddenly become one of the window's most wanted? How does this happen?
I think you've got to look elsewhere than Johnny Evans. He's probably a central defender, goes about his business and doesn't make too many mistakes. That's all you want from a central defender. I think some of the power brokers in the league, some of the bigger clubs, have had a big problem, certainly at the heart of their defences. And with that, the ante for Johnny Evans has gone up, you know, and that's why he's become that valuable.
OK. Let's have a mark your card on what you can see on the bottom of your screen. And Bristol City have signed England under-19 forward Jonathan Lecco from West Brom on a season-long loan deal, starting to gather pace quicker and quicker as this transfer window edges towards slamming shut. Right, still plenty more to discuss. Welcome back to Transfer Centre. Remember to stay across our live blog for all the latest deals. That's on our website and digital devices. Could Kylian Mbappe soon be a PSG player? According to Sky sources, PSG have reached an agreement with Monaco to sign the striker on loan, with an obligation to buy him for £166 million next summer. French media report he'll have a medical in Paris today.
So Mbappe on his way to PSG, and Monaco in a hurry to replace him. And one player they're very close to signing is the former Manchester City striker Stefan Jovetic. He's been told he can leave Inter Milan, and he's very close to completing a £10 million move to the French club. Now, Monaco are also still interested in signing Islam Slimani from Leicester City. But we're told another European club have made a late bid to sign him. We've been promised more information on this at lunchtime, but it looks almost certain that Slimani will be leaving Leicester just a year after he arrived for £29 million from Sporting Lisbon. Now, of course, one of the big sagas of the summer has been Diego Costa. He's telling Brazil he wants to go to Atletico. They're refusing to pay Chelsea's asking price, and they're banned from registering players until January anyway. Now, Monaco and Everton are also interested, but so far Costa has said he only wants to go to Atletico. Unless something changes in the next 72 hours, Costa could still be a Chelsea player when the window closes, a Chelsea player who's unwanted and who's refusing to come back to London.
My message for the fans is always the same, and I'm totally committed for the club. I'm totally committed for to improve my players, to improve my team, and I'm a coach. I'm not a manager, and I think the club is working very hard to try to improve the squad, to strengthen the squad. They know very well which is our situation, but I repeat that I'm ready in every case. Sometimes is possible, sometimes it's not possible. But I repeat, I must be focused. I must be focused on the pitch and to continue to work with my players.
Now we need at least 2 more players to get numbers in, but the most important is to have a striker in and 1 more player, because that's what we need, and everybody knows, and the board knows the importance for that 2 signings. But I don't speak about names, about players. it's the media who's talking about Costa or other players. We are looking and we do our job, and hopefully we will arrange it for next week.
So that is Costa. What about incomings at Chelsea? They're still in talks to sign Danny Drinkwater from Leicester City. Big problem here is the price. Leicester asking for about £40 million. Drinkwater again wasn't involved on Saturday as Leicester lost 2-0 to Manchester United. Chelsea also still want to sign a backup striker, and they remain interested in Fernando Llorente. He scored 15 times for Swansea last season. Antonio Conte knows him very well from their time together at Juventus. Now, this deal may depend on Swansea signing a replacement striker. They're still in talks with Manchester City about Wilfried Boney.
Pick up on that. Let's start with Danny Drinkwater. 40 million Leicester want, which, interestingly, is the same price that Chelsea sold Nemanja Matic to Manchester United.
I think Matic is the better of the two, it's fair to say, you know. It's a lot of money to play for Danny, but they obviously consider that that area of the pitch is somewhere they still need to strengthen.
Chelsea now going for the Champions League as well as the Premier League this season, something that they didn't have to do last season. Llorente and Drinkwater, Llorente, another player mentioned. Conte knows all about him, doesn't he? But are they the sort of players that Chelsea should be targeting to fight on two fronts?
Well, I can tell the tone of your voice. You're suggesting that they need to be...
I just asked the questions. I have no opinion.
Need to be signing players that you might think are going to have more of an impact, if you like. I'll be a little bit surprised. I can't see the thought process in moving Matic out to bring Danny Drinkwater in. I really can't. For me, Matic is an outstanding player at what he does in that position. He also helped the team win the league title this year as well. So
let's answer that one.
Thank you.
Now it's going to be a busy few days, we think, at Spurs. Players coming and going. Now, our colleagues at Sky in Italy are reporting that Inter Milan are trying to sign Moussa Sissoko on loan. Now, Sissoko came on as a second-half substitute against Burnley yesterday. Spurs signed him from Newcastle on deadline day last summer for £30 million, but he started only 9 league games since then. Another player who is almost definitely leaving Spurs is Kevin Wimmer. He said his goodbyes to his Spurs teammates. He's on his way to Stoke for £15 million, and he's due to have a medical today. Now, that deal has been agreed, but Mark Hughes didn't really want to say too much about Wimmer yesterday.
We're hopeful. I think the group could do with maybe 1 or 2, just to add to the quality we undoubtedly have already. So we'll wait and see. Everybody's doing quite a lot of business. Towards the end it gets a little bit frenetic, so we'll see if we're involved in that.
Wouldn't expect you to tell us names, but positions on the pitch you'd like to add to? Would you like to share that?
No, not really.
Now, as far as incomings are concerned for Spurs, they've agreed a deal with PSG to sign right-back Serge Aurier. He's completed his medical ahead of a £23 million move. Aurier will need a work permit before the deal can be finalised. PSG, remember, need to raise money to comply with those UEFA financial fair play rules. Another incoming at Spurs, talks continuing between Spurs and Estudiantes over defender Juan Foyth. He's a 19-year-old centre-back who's seen as very much one for the future. Now, Tottenham have made 2 signings in this window so far, and Mauricio Pochettino says he's confident of bringing in at least 3 more before the deadline.
We show a little bit lack of concentration on the end. I think, okay, it was difficult because they were tough, but that is a little bit tough to accept because when you have the 3 points in your hands, you need to concede in a different way, not in that way. No? We are the responsible to do better, to try to win, and in the way that today we concede the goal is not, I can't tell you, wasn't the problem Wembley.
Wasn't the problem at Wembley. Mauricio Pochettino, I think all neutrals in football, is this fair to say, have nothing but praise for what he's done at the club, but is it inevitable that a manager has to shake things up to keep fresh. He said he was talking about the concentration there. And it may not be complacency, but it is perhaps familiarity that doesn't keep them on the edge. What do Tottenham need to do here in this last few days of a window?
I wouldn't have said prior to this weekend that there was a real complacency at Tottenham. I think they've built a structure at the academy that are feeding players through into the first team. I think the first team squad are a very good squad of players, and it's just a case of pushing on a little bit. I think a bit of patience needs to be in order at Tottenham as well, especially going to Wembley, away from White Hart Lane, where their record was fantastic last year. They're going to suffer a little bit. That is a fact. There's no doubt about that. The magnitude of the games they'll have this year will be tough, a tough ask on them. Moving players out and thinning the squad for one or two players that have not really hit the ground running, you know, Wimmer and Sissoko maybe, and Janssen possibly, and bringing in players that are going to push up the quality of the first team is all they need to do. They're not far off.
So interestingly, you mentioned a defender, a midfielder and a striker there in those. Is those the three areas then that Tottenham need to strengthen in as well? Yeah,
I would say so. I think losing Walker has hurt them a little bit. You've got to bear in mind Walker and Rose are missing now from their team, and they were a big part of Tottenham. The pace and power those two had on both flanks, both defensively and going forward, are a big miss for Tottenham. And Rose is yet to play this season, you know, so not only have you lost Walker, you've lost Danny Rose as well at this moment in time.